Welcome to the Everyday is Saturday podcast, the #1 motivation show on the planet.
No more Mondays for you. It's time to make every day Saturday. Boom!
This is the podcast where we help you to accept who you are, not where you are.
On the roller coaster of life, you know we only sit in the front seat, champion. So make sure you are fastened and tight. Let's go!
Tired of feeling run down all the time during the week? We can help you make every day feel like it's a Saturday.
Let's go. Pack your bags. It's time to leave Averageville.
Introducing the man who thinks abnormal stands for above normal.
When you're on fire, people will travel from miles around to watch you burn, baby. We are fired up.
The host of the Everyday is Saturday show, Sam Crowley.
Hello, champion, and welcome back to the Everyday is Saturday podcast. Diving right into today's show. First of all, thank you so much, all the listeners all around the world. We see the metrics, the downloads, all the countries. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know if there's another word for it. Ridiculously fun and ridiculously amazing at the same time that I get to speak every day to you. You listen. You choose to listen. You got a lot of different other options out there. I appreciate it. We'll never take it for granted. But what would I ever do anyway? You know, what would I ever do? That's what I want to talk about today. I have no interest in ever retiring. I don't know what would I retire from? Talking? When do you stop talking? You never stop talking. I mean, the whole premise of this podcast is to help people understand that everybody's got a story to tell, a message to share, and a lesson to teach, you know? So start talking. There's somebody out there that's going to want to listen, somebody that's really going to resonate with what you have to say. Had an amazing day yesterday. Shout out to our platinum coaching client, Hunter Lowry. He was in town from Sacramento, California. Long way from home. Hunter had never been in the state of Ohio before, so what a treat it was to entertain him. And he's a golfer. OMG. Would you want to venture a guess on what we did all day yesterday? Yes, we played 36 holes of golf at my club. Yep, not just 18. Played 36, beautiful, crisp day here in Southwest Ohio, and that got me thinking. I woke up today, fired up, drove Hunter back to the airport, and picked up the microphone and recorded a podcast because that's what I do. I guess I would ask this question if you or I were sitting in the room. What you're doing right now, would you do it for the rest of your life? Now, there's variations to stuff. I get it. It's like, but the premise of it, you know, like I would be speaking for the rest of my life. I can't imagine not doing that. Podcasting, can't imagine not doing that. But I could certainly imagine when I was trapped back at the JOB, I could imagine a lot of different things that I would rather be doing than going to a 9-to-5. How about you? Are you currently doing what that thing is that you really love to do? And if you're not, I mean, it's a simple question. Yeah, why? Why aren't you doing it? And usually the answer is money. You can't replace my current income. Well, you can, but you got to understand there's a runway involved. Everybody's runway is different. For some people, that runway to take off in a different direction and replace that income might look like 6 months. Others, it might be 6 years. And then somewhere in between. All of those are great. I mean, that's fine. But it's not just the money, because once you realize you can earn income really doing anything, you know, especially doing something that you like better than what you're currently doing, then money's kind of like, okay, yeah, I can make that pretty much anywhere doing anything. At least replace some of it while I'm still having some fun doing the thing I love. That's going to replace what I'm doing full time. And that's what I was thinking about my time with Hunter yesterday. Is absolutely amazing time. You know, we got together. He came in, today's Wednesday, so he came on Monday night, picked him up at the hotel, went to dinner, had a great time, met up 8:30 in the morning yesterday, picked him up at the hotel. We went to my club, strategized for a few hours, talking about business and marketing and his own podcast, which is doing very, very well. And then went out on the golf course and, you know, spent the rest of the day, another 7 hours just playing golf. And, you know, I woke up this morning, I don't want to go back to the golf course today, you know, even if I could, I could, but I don't have an interest in just playing golf every day for the rest of my life. At one point, I got to tell you, that sounded pretty fun, but you get bored pretty easily of that. You know, I remember Mike Ditka, the great coach of the Chicago Bears, when he left coaching, when he left the Bears before he went to the Saints, he's like, what am I going to do? Just play golf every day? I mean, he was a good golfer, probably a 4 or 5 handicap. He's like, I can't get better. That's not, okay, what if I got to a 0, a scratch handicap, and I was pretty much a pro golfer? Then what? You can't get better than that. So I want to get back into coaching. Like, I want to be around people. I want to be around the grind. You know, I think the grind gets a bad rap sometimes. You know, guys like Gary Vee, who I absolutely respect immensely. And when I met Gary Vee, he wasn't anything like the persona that you see online. At least at the time, I thought he was going to be this gruff and angry guy. Couldn't have been nicer, man. It's just so engaging. Ask questions about myself and family. We were backstage at an event talking. But, you know, that whole grind. You don't need to do that. But I enjoy. Here's the thing. When I'm doing it, I love it. So what would be the grind for, you know, an individual like myself? Waking up. I mean, it's going to sound so silly because it's not that difficult. Recording content, you know, engaging, doing client coaching calls, hosting live mastermind calls, maybe recording content for the courses that are inside of our mastermind group. That hardly sounds like a grind, right? But that would be not golfing, you know? I mean, that would be getting involved, throwing yourself into your work. That's why creating a calendar of a lifetime of Saturdays represents, look, Saturday's a mindset. It's not a circumstance, but that's what every day of Saturday means. It's all about your mindset. You wake up absolutely loving what you do, and you got to do a double take at the clock at the end of the day because you can't believe it's already 6 o'clock at night and you have to just stop, you know? That's the mindset that it represents. But you can't do that every day either. You got to have whatever your fun outlet. For me, it's the golf course, and in the wintertime, it's the gym, and it's other activities that take the place of being able to be outside in the nice weather. But that is really what it's framed as, is being able to, when you're in business, you're on. Like you're in. You're all in, you're working, grinding, whatever you want to call it. And then the next day you're not. And then when you come back the day after that, you're refreshed, you're doing it. To me, it just makes so much sense. What didn't make sense was waking up early Monday morning and grinding until the end of the day on Friday. It made sense at the beginning because I was 22 years old with an $8 haircut from Great Clips and a clip-on tie, okay? That made sense because I wanted to see how far up that corporate ladder I could go. And as I started ascending up that ladder, I realized I'm going to need to be like those people at the end of the hall with the big offices. I don't want to be like those people. I do not want to be like them. So I did a 90-degree turn, shut it down, and went in a completely different direction. And that's where my life went. It was grind, relax. Grind, relax. You have family. Why wouldn't you want to spend time with your family? You know, when my kids were younger, always in the drop-off line in the morning, the pickup line in the afternoon. Mainly my wife did the pickup line. I did the drop-off line, but then we'd have some kid. We had a couple kids in elementary school, another kid in middle school, so we had to split between that. Oh, by the way, throw in a kid born back in 2014 at 1 pound, 9 months at Children's Hospital, back and forth to there every day. You can't do that stuff having a job, you know? You want to talk about putting your head down and not coming up for water for 9 months? More like 3 years. That was really that period of time. Couldn't have never done that with a job. So when I thought about, man, it was great playing 36 holes of golf, but I miss this. I could never stop telling a story, teaching a lesson. I mean, it's just ingrained in who I was. And it's even who I was in the corporate game, too. I love telling great stories. I love teaching lessons. I could have done without the other 98% of the stuff that happened, but I could just be content with doing this for the rest of my life. And that's always my prayer for you and anybody else that really wants to go in the direction of this dream that you got. Married to the process, divorced from the outcome. All right, you start becoming outcome driven, then you compare yourself to everybody else, and then it becomes a win-loss thing. It's not about wins and losses. You're going to lose way more than you win. But the wins are so amazing, and you can't even get there without losing, first of all. You know, you can't get there without the failure. It's impossible to get there without failing. You have to. And from the failure comes the wisdom, and the wisdom comes the lesson, and now you learned it, and you proceed forward, and you're always learning, man. And really, you're never even failing. You're either winning or you're learning. That's a really great way to frame it. So that's always my hope for people that listen to the Everyday Saturday podcast is that, okay, stay in the job, get the bills paid, but man, wouldn't you like to act a little bit on that dream? As crazy as it is, maybe only tell your spouse about it or a good friend of yours about it right now. You don't tell everybody about it. That's cool. You can keep it tight right now, but it's okay to start to venture out. I mean, I told this story on the podcast one time, probably more than one time. I was so desperate. I would sit in my office in corporate with this, corner office and a view of the Ohio River and the skyline of Cincinnati. And I was looking for business opportunities, looking at buying gumball machines. Gumball machines. Like that was going to be my, and I was envisioning myself on my lunch break going around and emptying out all the dimes and nickels from my gumball machines and replenishing the gumballs. Like that was a dream. It was stupid for most people to think about. For me, it was just an opportunity to make a little bit of money on the side. It was simple. Like I needed simple. Look, I ain't a guy that's going to be out there splitting atoms, putting O-rings on the space shuttle. So I got to find something that's pretty simple that I can see myself doing. And from there came a franchise. There went the Quiznos. Came and went pretty quick, didn't it? But this podcast would have never been born had I not been sitting in that office just dreaming a little bit about that escape hatch that I could do. And I did dream about playing a lot of golf back then, even though I took 20 years away from the sport. But I could never do that for the rest of my life because I would get bored, because my real passion and purpose in my life is sharing this message every day with you. That's what it is. I hope you find a little bit of daylight today about what you can dream about. Take action on that, and I'm telling you, man, it's going to seem like a New York minute for how fast that turns into reality for you, and you're going to love that grind a lot more than you love the current grind that you're in. All right, so I hope that planted a seed in good soil for you. Share it with somebody that needs to hear the podcast. Would you do me a favor? Smash that 5-star rating on iTunes. It helps. It helps amazing people like you find the show as well, and we want more amazing people like you listening to the podcast. All right, let's go. Say it with me, gang. Have the best day ever. And that's a wrap. Another Everyday Saturday podcast in the books. Thanks so much for listening. Would you do your boy a favor? Would you get on iTunes or wherever you listen to the Everyday Saturday podcast and leave a rating for the show? It helps amazing people like you find the show faster. And that's what I'm looking for, amazing people like you. Hey, I'm always hanging out on the interwebs. You can check me out on Instagram at EverydayIsSaturday. Let me know you're listening to the show. Love hearing from fans of the Everyday Saturday podcast. And one last thing, when you're ready to launch, get on my calendar, go to launchwithsam.com. You and I are going to work together to set rocket fuel to your dream. Are you ready? Let's do it. I'll see you on the next Everyday is Saturday podcast.